score! And McClellan, he could go. Burst of speed. The header, another goes in.
Heisman Memorial Trophy. Bryce Young.
A shot with the right foot. 3-1 Crimson Tide. We talked about Alabama.
Alabama is still Alabama.
Roll Tide, everybody, and welcome to the Crimson Tide production studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium for another episode of TideTV This Week. I'm Seth Payne, sitting in this week for Roger Hoover, alongside the always wonderful Kinsey Hughes.
Hey, Seth. I appreciate it, and it's good to have you this week.
It's good to be here. Kinsey, it was a big week for the Crimson Tide. Football won big over Louisiana Monroe, 63-7. But the big story this past week for Alabama was the soccer team.
The Crimson Tide picked up their third top 25 win of the season and second top win of the season this past Saturday with a 2-0 shutout over fifth-ranked South Carolina.
Very impressive win. Let's take an all-access look back at the Tide's huge upset win over fifth-ranked Gamecocks.
Crowds here in Tuscaloosa, unmatched in program history. It is their highest ranking ever, 11th in the nation. And if they can win here at home against a South Carolina team they have never beaten under Wes Hart, it'd be an entirely new level.
Oh my God, let's go!
That's a dangerous ball inside. Good save by Hins. Aimed to the back post. Barry brought it down. Good save, Crone. Made herself as big as she could. Denies Cat Barry. This is really good from Alabama. Tanner tees that up. Knox! Oh, what a goal for Alabama! Tuscaloosa in a frenzy! Delivery into the mixer. Headers in. It had to be Parker. It's 2-0 Alabama. Alabama, a win over a top 5 team here in Tuscaloosa. They're going to continue to climb the national polls. A statement, validation. The Tide knock off South Carolina 2-0 on a Thursday night.
What an incredible win over fifth-ranked South Carolina. It was the first time in program history that Alabama has defeated 2 top 10 programs in a single season, and just the second time in program history the Crimson Tide has defeated 3 top 25 teams in a single season, Kinsey.
And after that big win against USC on Thursday, Alabama closed out the weekend with their final non-conference match of the season as the Crimson Tide hosted Chattanooga.
Yeah, 6 different players would score goals for Alabama as the Tide rolled to a 6-0 victory. Ashlyn Serepka scored the opening goal 17 minutes into the match. The Tide netted 2 more goals soon after. Gianna Paul pushed one past the goalie in the 23rd minute, and just 6 minutes later, Kate Henderson scored off a header to make things 3-0 Crimson Tide.
Kat Rogers assisted on the next 3 goals. Macy Clem with a header of her own in the 65th minute to make it 4-0, and Emily Cobbler scored her first career goal in the 69th minute. And Sydney Vincents captured her first goal of the season to finish out the scoring for the Tide as Alabama defeated Chattanooga 6-0.
It was Alabama's 4th win in a row and 3rd consecutive shutout. The win was also the Tide's 12th in a row here at home.
And with those wins, the Tide keep climbing the rankings. Soccer has reached their highest ranking in program history as the Tide is ranked 6th in the United Soccer Coaches Top 25 and 7th by the College Soccer News and Top Drawer Soccer.
Felicia Knox has had a fantastic start to the season. Knox has an NCAA leading 8 assists that go along with 2 goals scored this season. Both of those goals in the Tide's 2 wins over top 10 teams.
Knox was rewarded for her performance as she was named the Southeastern Conference Co-Offensive Player of the Week. Knox also won a trio of national awards as she was named one of Soccer America's 3 Stars of the Week. She was also named to Top Drawer Soccer and College Soccer News National Teams of the Week.
And for more on soccer's best start in program history, our Delaney Jones joins us now along with the SEC Offensive Player of the Week. Delaney?
Congratulations, Felicia, on being named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week. What a huge honor. You scored the game-winning goal and assisted on the other in the team's 2-0 shutout victory over fifth-ranked South Carolina. Talk about getting that win and your performance in that game.
Thank you. I think the win was fantastic. I think us as a team, we've been working hard towards these little victories towards the season, and I think especially against South Carolina, I don't think anybody had beaten them since, for a while at least, so no one on the team had beaten them, so it felt really good.
You lead the NCAA with 8 assists. You're setting up your teammates for success. Just talk about that and how that feels.
I mean, I think we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't like a team effort type thing. And I mean, the assists and goals, they matter, but at the end of the day, if the team's winning, that's all that counts. So, I mean, I'm really excited for what's to come, and the little joys every game are really exciting.
Coach Hart said the win over 6th-ranked BYU was a validation, and that a win over 5th-ranked South Carolina would be a statement. And you guys certainly made a statement in shutting out the highest-ranked SEC team in South Carolina. Talk about what message that sends to the league as you get ready for SEC play.
I mean, yeah, BYU was a great win, and I think that really started us off on like a front foot. And then with South Carolina, it kind of just reassured us that we are a great team, that we're playing really well right now, and that we kind of have our we're in form, we're doing well, and I think with beating South Carolina, it just reassured us that, you know, we can do it. Like we can continue to be making statements and stuff like that, and so we're really excited for what's to come.
Riley Mattingly-Parker and some of your other teammates were pointing to the Alabama logo on their jerseys after the win over South Carolina. What does it mean to you to play soccer for Alabama at a time like this and to be taking the program to new heights?
Yeah, I mean, I just got chills when you said that, but it's taken a lot, and she can speak from her freshman year. I know she talks about it all the time. It's been a long time coming, and I think with Wes and some of the older players, like they stuck around because they had faith in us, and they had faith in that the program would end up where it is right now. And I think the only way that we can continue to do this is continue to be playing good and continue to have the work ethic and stuff like that to climb to the top. So.
Well, congratulations, Felicia, on being named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week and on the season so far. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Delaney, and a huge congrats to Felicia and the squad.
Yeah, great start for Bama soccer, but stay with us. We'll have the highlights from football's win over ULM on Saturday and take a look at who the Tide will face next season. That's right here on Tide TV This Week.
Tide TV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, for great offers on F-150, see your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
The lights of Tuscaloosa. What a finish we're in store for.
If you're looking to visit this stadium. They got it figured out here.
It's more than a buzz at Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's electric. Here comes the Tide.
Welcome back to Tide TV This Week. The second-ranked Alabama football team was back in Bryant-Denny this past Saturday as the Tide defeated UL Monroe 63-7.
Yeah, as a team, Alabama totaled 509 yards of offense to just 169 for ULM. The win extended Alabama's win streak over non-conference regular season opponents to 55 games.
That's crazy, Seth. And let's take a look at the players of the week as selected by Coach Saban and the coaching staff. Center Darian Dalcourt and running back Jahmyr Gibbs, who had 158 all-purpose yards, were chosen on offense. And on defense, Will Anderson Jr., Brian Branch, and DeMarco Helms, who led the team in tackles, were selected.
And with a 68-yard punt return for a touchdown, Brian Branch was also selected on special teams. Kool-Aid McKinstry had a monster day on punt returns. Kool-Aid totaled 136 return yards on 5 punts, and Ja'Cory Brooks had a blocked punt, while Malachi Moore scooped it up and ran it in for the score.
We also know the game time for the Crimson Tide's first SEC road game of the season. Next week's matchup against the 10th-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks in Fayetteville is set for 2:30 Central, and it'll be the Crimson Tide's first game this year on CBS.
And it should be a great game, but the 2023 schedule for the Crimson Tide football team was released this week, and it's highlighted by a matchup here in Bryant-Denny against Texas, along with 4 SEC matchups.
Alabama will open the 2023 season here at home against Middle Tennessee on September 2nd. Then, the return trip for the Longhorns will be on September 9th. The Tide then heads to Tampa for the first round of the game to the season to take on South Florida. Alabama opens SEC play the following week against the Ole Miss Rebels.
Alabama then has 4 consecutive SEC matchups, 2 on the road against Mississippi State and Tennessee, and 2 at home against Arkansas and Tennessee. After a bye week for Coach Saban's birthday and Halloween, Alabama kicks off November with a matchup against LSU in Bryant-Denny.
Oh, those are obviously two very important holidays, Seth. And the Tide finishes November with a road trip to Lexington to take on the Kentucky Wildcats. We host Chattanooga on the 18th, and on Thanksgiving weekend is the annual Iron Bowl. Now, let's take a look at our Crimson Tide in the NFL Players of the Week. And we start in South Beach, where Tua and the Dolphins made waves in a huge second-back comeback.
Yes, they did. Tua Tagovailoa earned AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors for his performance in Miami's huge comeback win over the Baltimore Ravens. Down 21 points in the fourth quarter, Tua led the Dolphins as they outscored the Ravens 28-3 to earn the 42-38 come-from-behind win. Tua completed 72% of his passes for 469 yards and 6 touchdowns. That would tie the Dolphins' franchise record for touchdown passes in a game with Dan Marino and Bob Greasy.
Ooh, on the receiving end of a good bit of those yards was guess who? Jalen Waddle. Waddle scored the game-winning touchdown, a 7-yard pass from Tua as he finished with 11 catches for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And Jalen Hurts had a monster day himself in the Philadelphia Eagles win over Minnesota on Monday night. Hurts completed 26 of 31 of his throws for 333 yards and a touchdown. And on the ground, he rushed for 57 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hurts is showing his versatility in the NFL as he became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 300-plus yards, complete 80% of his attempts, and rush for multiple touchdowns in a game.
Wow, Seth, what a great week for the Crimson Tide in the NFL, and that's just a few of the guys that had great games this week.
It makes me want to do the Waddle a little bit.
Right?
But,
We're just going to wiggle?
Unfortunately, we don't have time to talk more about those great performances because we wanted to give you an all-access look at the Tide's big win over ULM. So let's take a look at the highlights from the Tide's 63-7 win.
We are back in Bama as the Crimson Tide welcomes Louisiana Monroe to Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Everybody's got to be all in this. First play of the game to the last play of the game. For 60 minutes in the game.
And here comes the Tide. Bryce fakes to Gibbs, goes to the sideline. Nice catch and move by Holton towards the end zone. Touchdown. Will Anderson a chance to make some plays. It's a loss of 3. Quickly they get it off. It is intercepted. This is Will Anderson Jr. Touchdown.
First punt traveled 40 yards. Pressure up the middle. It's blocked. Ball down at the 5. Bama trying to pick it up. They do, and they will score. Malachi Moore. Touchdown, Alabama. Roll the pocket himself left side. Cat and mouse, stops, spins, gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. What a play from Bryce Young. Is near midfield. Young will look deep. He's got a man. Latu, great grab in traffic down to the 15-yard line. The big fella going up.
Wide open. Hello to Amari Niblack.
Gibbs makes a man miss, 25-20, down the sideline, 10, inside the 5, makes a man miss again, into the end zone, touchdown, Alabama, Jahmyr Gibbs, goes to Williams, fights through 1 tackle, stays on his feet and into the end zone, touchdown, Alabama.
Chandler has nothing and down he goes, To'o.
5:40, still on his feet across midfield. Brian Branch at the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Alabama. Sanders in the backfield with him. They'll hand it off. He'll run it up the gut. Touchdown, Alabama. Final score, 63-7, Alabama.
Tide TV This Week is presented by Ford. For great offers on F-150, see your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide, the University of Alabama, where legends are made.
There's a formula for success. It takes practice, persistence, and an unwavering drive. Together, our aspirations become reality. Every triumph has its origin story. Ours begin right here, the University of Alabama, where legends are made.
Welcome back to Tide TV this week. Sticking with football, the second-rate Crimson Tide football team is back in action this weekend in Bryant-Denny Stadium.
That's right, Seth. Alabama will take on Vanderbilt for the first time in 5 years. For a preview of the Tide and the Commodores, our Christopher England joins us now.
Alabama opens Southeastern Conference play this Saturday as the Tide hosts Vanderbilt. The two schools will meet for the 85th time and will be the Commodores' first trip to Tuscaloosa since 2011. The Crimson Tide have won 22 in a row over the Commodores, with the last win coming back in 2017 when the Tide won 59-0 in Nashville. Vanderbilt is 3-1, including a 2-0 record on the road. The Commodores opened their season with an impressive 63-10 win over Hawaii. Their only loss in the season was a 45-25 decision to number 21 Wake Forest. Vandy's best win came last week. Trailing 28-14 in the fourth quarter, the Commodores scored 24 unanswered points to defeat defending MAC champion Northern Illinois 38-28. Clark Lay was a defensive coordinator at Notre Dame for 3 seasons before returning to his alma mater to take over the Vanderbilt program last season. In just his second season as the Commodores head coach, Lay has already made a huge impact, changing the culture of Vanderbilt football.
Players play really hard. They play with confidence. I think they believe in, what they're doing offensively, defensively, special teams, and I think culture is the biggest thing you try to establish in a program. And they've got some pretty good players. They got some experienced players that are back from a year ago. They got better skill guys than they normally have, better quarterbacks. And they're doing a really, really good job of coaching them, and they've got really challenging systems to defend against.
Although Lee is a defensive-minded coach, Commodores' success this season can be attributed to the offense. The Commodores are 5th in the SEC in scoring, averaging 42 points per game. The Commodores have used 2 quarterbacks so far this season, but it was freshman A.J. Swan who shined in the win over Northern Illinois. In his first career start, Swan led the Commodores to a huge comeback win over the Huskies, completing 18 of 28 passes for 255 yards and 4 touchdowns, earning SEC Freshman of the Week honors. Swan currently leads the SEC in passing efficiency with a 188.6 rating, and on the season, Swan is 29 of 46 for a team-high 452 passing yards with 6 touchdowns. Running back Ray Davis is second in the SEC with 362 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. Day had a career-best 116 yards on the ground on 23 carries in the win over Northern Illinois. The Commodores' biggest offensive weapon this season so far has been wideout Will Shepard. Shepard leads the SEC in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. The 6'3" junior also leads the nation with 7 touchdown receptions and had 10 catches for 172 yards in last week's win. Vanderbilt has recorded a turnover in 13 consecutive games, the longest active streak in the SEC. Leading the Commodores' defense is linebacker Anthony Orji, with the SEC leading 39 tackles with a fumble recovery. Kickoff is scheduled for 6:30. The game will be broadcast on the SEC Network. Stay with us. We'll have more Tide TV this week coming up next.
The lights of Tuscaloosa. What a finish we're in store for.
If you're looking to visit this stadium. They got it figured out here.
It's more than a buzz at Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's electric. Here comes the Tide.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, we've talked the success of soccer and football, but the Alabama men's and women's cross-country team are ranked #1 in the South region. After winning the men's and women's team titles at the North Alabama Showcase, the cross-country team picked up a couple of weekly honors from the SEC.
That's right, Seth. And Vincent Kieprop finished first overall in the men's race at the North Alabama Showcase. And get this, he finished more than 7 seconds ahead of the field in the 8K. Kieprop was named the SEC Men's Runner of the Week.
And Hilda Olamomoy finished second overall at the North Alabama Showcase, pacing the women to the team title. Olamomoy was named the SEC Women's Freshman of the Week. Now, the Alabama volleyball team took on 12th-ranked Florida on Wednesday night in Gainesville. The Tide battled hard. They would drop the first 2 sets 25-19 before dropping the third 25-17.
The Crimson Tide return home this weekend to take on Auburn here in Tuscaloosa. That Iron Bowl will take place at 1 o'clock on both Saturday and Sunday.
And the Alabama men's golf team teed off the season with a win in their season opener. The Tide followed that up with a 5th place finish this past weekend at the Fighting Illini Invitational.
Cannon Clacomb and Thomas Ponder finished 8th and 9th overall to lead the Tide. And stay with us. We'll have our plays and player of the week coming up next.
Somebody stop me, I'm on a groove.
There you see the Crimson Tide ready to go.
Go.
Campbell down in Alabama. Here's Jacobs.
Taken by Layla Smith.
Down and Alabama's back on top. Blocked by Jacobs. And blocked
For Alabama, they needed service direction.
Are you kidding me? Ray. And a point for Alabama on a long rally.
Move.
Tees that up. Knox! Oh, what a goal for Alabama! Delivery into the mixer. Headers in. It had to be Parker. It's 2-0 Alabama.
He will roll the pocket himself left side. Cat and mouse, stops, spins, gets into the end zone. Touchdown Alabama. What a play from Bryce Young.
Quickly, they get it off. It is intercepted. This is Will Anderson Jr. Touchdown. Punt. Here comes the Tide, and they block it. It's going to be picked up by Malachi Moore. Touchdown.
High spiraling kick that Branch will field for 31. Goes to the right side, 35-40. Still on his feet across midfield. Brian Branch at the 30. Touchdown, Alabama.
Welcome back to TideTV This Week. Those were our ATI plays of the week. Now, let's take a look at our players of the week, brought to you by Legacy of Hope.
There were plenty to choose from, but we start with Felicia Knox. She scored the game winner in the Tide's upset of 5th-ranked South Carolina. Knox also had an assist on Riley Parker's goal as the Tide won 2-0. Knox picked up a trio of national awards and was named the SEC Co-Offensive Player of the Week.
Knox definitely put on a show, but you know who else did? Will Anderson Jr., as he had his first interception and first ever touchdown in the Tide's win over Louisiana Monroe. Anderson finished with 5 tackles, 1.5 for a loss with a sack.
And the Tide special teams unit broke a 75-year-old school record by totaling 262 total punt return yards. Kool-Aid McKinstry led the way with 136 yards on 5 returns, but Brian Branch had the Tide's first punt return for touchdown on the season with a 68-yard score. And Ja'Cory Brooks blocked a punt that Malachi Moore recovered and took in for the score. And Will Reichard also set a new school record for extra points made in a career, moving past Adam Griffith with 194 PATs. Congratulations to all our Legacy of Hope Players of the Week.
That's right, Seth, and we hope to see you back here next week for another episode of TideTV This Week.
Hey, have a great weekend, everybody. It was great being here. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, Seth.
This has been a presentation from Learfield.